welcome back.
Hey there, horror fans! David Howard Thornton here, but you might know me as Art the Clown from the movie Terrifier and the upcoming Terrifier 2. And you're listening to Slashcast, the podcast for horror fans. Watch it or I'll get ya!
Oh, and another shout out to Halloween. He fucking stomped the dude's head in.
I still have a problem with that.
What did it say?
Huh. 3, 2, 1.
Hi.
Hey, how you be? Okay. Oh, I did. It just started recording.
Push that up.
We good. Okay.
Shit. Get to walking.
Hello.
Who the hell are you?
What are you doing here? What am I doing here?
How long have you been in my basement?
Wow. I've been here since about March, just hanging out.
Oh.
It said lockdown meant lockdown. I locked down.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess I could take my big feet off the table so everybody can't see the bottoms of my footsies. Hi, everybody.
Hello and welcome back. I don't want to sing it right now.
How you been, brother? Nice
Good.
to see you.
Nice
My
to see
name's
you.
Chevy.
And I am Jim again.
Actually, I'm still Chevy.
And I'm Jim again.
No, it's Jim again and
Jim
still
again
Chevy.
and still Chevy.
Okay.
Yes.
How you been?
Good. Don't forget to let me know in a doll where the ghost touched you.
Oh, God. Right about here.
Yeah, it's been weird, man.
Yeah, it's...
I'm not
yeah.
getting into. I mean, there's not many details to get
I don't
into with
wanna- I
anything,
don't-
but it's just been sucky not being able to do this.
We miss you guys. We miss, putting stuff out. And the funny thing is, all this time, watching all these, had time to watch movies and this and that, I probably watched Jaws 13 times because I love it. I still think it's a slasher flick because you got a psychotic shark.
Slasher.
Whatever.
Oh, no.
I mean, well, I guess it's not a slasher. I guess it would be a chomper.
Chomper. Oh.
Whatever. You still had a psychotic character chasing after people, I guess.
Yeah, they say razor sharp teeth. He slices through skin. I mean, it's
Eats boats.
eats boats.
Eats docks. Oh, whatever.
I like it. No, I love Jaws.
Jaws is a good one. Jaws is one of my favorites. So how's everybody else been out there? I mean, we kind of, like I said, we've missed doing this, and Jim and I 2 days ago were talking and said, you know what? And here comes the first one of the Welcome Back episode. I said, fuck it, come down, we're doing it. So
Yeah. I mean,
none whatsoever.
no reason not to. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
We're here.
And I want to get back to talking about 30 to 40-year-old movies.
Absolutely.
That's always
True.
the best thing to do. Brighten up your day. You talk about something you love or
Yep.
you hate, and you can discuss passionately.
Kind of surprised Jimmy came down. I had everything kind of rearranged. It was more shooting this way. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
got kind of bored, and I kind of turned the couch a little bit and everything in the back. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
All my vintage Star Wars stuff. That's been going and collecting and trying to see if I could get everything all back to what I had as a kid. What the hell are you doing?
Nothing. So, while you're watching, if you see anything back there, you want to ask what it is or anything, feel free to
Why don't
ask.
you go like this instead of going like this? I mean, they can't see the back. It's the
I'm
goddamn
pointing
back
myself,
of the.
though.
No, well, yeah, all this stuff. Bunch of good people that I've come in contact with in the last year or so on Facebook. Some great fans, great collectors out there. Check Vintage Star Wars groups and everything on Facebook. Look for the Imperial Commissary. There's Papa Chunk's Toy Cartel, I believe it is. They could have changed it. just, you know what, some great people on there. So shout out to those guys, and you know, thanks a bunch for getting my 40-plus-year-old toys back.
That is cool.
Yeah, you know what?
How many could just been thrown away for no reason?
Absolutely.
And they're still around.
And what's amazing is how many, like what you just said, how many have been thrown away, how many we opened as kids and played with, and there are still a bunch out there that are like the action figures that are still sealed, mint on card. The cards are beautiful. Some of them, the hang tags haven't even been punched, so they're considered non-circulated.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a deep, deep rabbit hole to dive down.
And when you realize, thinking back, like when you were a kid getting toys, why would you have not opened it? Do you know?
I chalk it up to this. I was 5 years old when Star Wars came out. Boy, hey, you know what? This is a great conversation starter for a horror podcast about Star Wars. I mean, but still, anyway, it doesn't make a difference.
We cross over, people.
Kind of
We cross over, people.
You know what? This
Bring
is
it
just
on. Bring
kind
on
of
some
a welcome.
sci-fi.
We're just talking and
Yes.
welcome back and just making sure everybody knows that we're still alive. Mm-hmm. But when Star Wars came out, I was 5. Christmas of '78, right around '78. That's when they started releasing the toys and everything. So I was 6. Mm-hmm. It was a toy to me. Hey, look, it's Luke Skywalker.
You open it and play with the toy.
There goes the bubble. There goes the card. Forget you. Oh, wait a minute. Now you can start sending away. If you clip out this and send this in with $1, they'll send you a new action figure or secret something. You know. But if I was 20 years old in 1978, maybe it would have been different. I mean, like, hey, you know what? This movie's going to be big. Something else. I'm going to get this. I wasn't a collector until, I was like 16, 17 years old. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that works.
Send it into P.O. Box 1.
Yep. Yeah. Wow, man. Send $1 and 5 proof of purchases from 5 different action figures, and we'll send you this.
Now kids got to do is scan their eyeball, and they send their information to Amazon, and they can send something the next day.
Kids don't have any idea how to play nowadays, but that's not why we're here.
That's okay. Anyway, yes, topics of discussion today are...
everything and anything.
Yes, whatever we get to, I guess. Mm-hmm. We'll touch on a couple movies.
What have you been doing through our last,
Just spent. I mean, when they said stay away, I stayed away because my job is with the public, and I couldn't work, so I had nothing else to do.
You're one of those. You're one of those drivers.
I'm one of the lifesavers. Yes. Those 2 a.m. lifesavers.
Okay.
But when that happened, I was out, and I haven't been.
Was there anything that you could have done? Like so big deal. We're going to say it was either Uber or Lyft. Mm-hmm. One of the two. We're not going to narrow it down, but was there anything that there like protocols that you could have done, or was it just like, hey, guess what?
They shut everything down. Yeah,
no, we're not doing anything.
No masks. The only way to actually do it is if you had maybe like a plexiglass in your car to separate you from the back, and there's no way.
So a death-proof box.
Exactly.
Okay.
Since I know about that, how unhealthy wearing masks actually are for an extended period of time, I would never work with that on, and I would never ask anybody to stay in a car for 45 minutes with me with theirs on. It's just not healthy.
Just tell them to hang your head out the window.
Yeah, keep roll your window down. It's not.
Take your
mask
mask
out.
out.
The window's down. Be a dog for about 40 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah. So after that happened, it was done, and just been spending time with friends, hanging out, and getting away when I can, and just.
Yeah, that's basically about it.
Started seeing my my son again recently.
That had to be difficult.
And my parents, same thing. Didn't get to see them.
I've been taking care of them. Don't worry about it. I drive by every once in a while, wave, and Patty gives me the finger.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago,
no, Patty doesn't give me the finger. She waves, and
Yeah, she wouldn't do that.
Yes, she would
to your face. No,
she'd open hand slap me. I can tell you that
she
much.
would do that.
She probably will once she hears this, if she hears it.
Yeah, but other than that, once everything started getting back normal with that, and getting back on that schedule, summertime finally actually now they can actually be summer for the kids, and it just feels like it's getting back to normal.
Just really, the class of 2020, or as I like to call it, the class of 19. Because there's certain 5 little letters that go in front of -19. I feel really bad for them. I mean, they missed out on a lot of stuff.
A lot of memories.
And, things like that, and we're not going to make this a political podcast.
No,
and I'm not going to, I'm sure everybody has their own opinion, and you know what? That's all well and good. But yeah.
It does suck. It sucks.
It does. It really did. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that, that was taken for granted. Being able to go out, hang out with your friends, go get a beer, going out to dinner. Yeah. That was, I actually forgot I knew how to cook. That's not true.
See, I was telling I'm like, yeah, I don't really hang out in bars anymore. I'm like,
you do the dart leagues,
fine.
though.
Yeah, once those stopped, it was like, okay, it's only
dart league, bowling. I mean, anything.
None of that. Everything stopped. But I mean, like going to a restaurant thing, I'm like, oh, I don't mind getting my food and going home and eating it.
Yeah.
So it didn't really impact me personally too much.
Right.
But I don't know how it did a lot of people.
Well,
impacted me financially, obviously, but
yeah,
personally, if I wasn't working, I'd still probably be doing the same things I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 months.
Exactly.
Except for missing out on doing fun stuff, like just having the option to do the fun thing. We didn't even have the option for a while.
Yeah, I miss kind of going like, "Hey Jim, what are you doing today? Let's go try this." Boom.
Yeah.
It was.
And for anybody who doesn't know, we live in Pennsylvania.
Tell them that. No.
And so you know what shit we're dealing with.
Yeah. And not only do we live just in Pennsylvania, we live in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. So we're the devil.
Yes. We're the blackest of the black sheep.
Yes, very much so. Kind of funny. You see a map, almost 75-80% of Pennsylvania's gone yellow, and you see this little red zit. That was us. So,
but we'll be all right. Everybody's all right.
Yep.
Once the media moves on, we'll be okay.
Don't even get me started with the media.
Yeah. And anyway, welcome back, Slashcast, episode 13. And shout out to Cult Classic Horror right there on there. Check them out.
Yeah.
Check them out on Facebook.
Yeah, you can tell this is kind of I don't want to say a whirlwind thing, but we don't have, we're stripped down bare.
I'm loving it.
Hey, next time we might be coming to you from the garage. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
No lights.
Why not?
I've got a doll out there that I'll show where the ghost. Never mind.
I got my recorder. We can talk to a ghost. But
absolutely.
Other than that, would you like to get into the movies? At all?
What the hell movies were we even? Oh, Friday the 13th.
Part 1 and Part 2.
Well, hey, why not?
I mean, that was the plan. I figured I'd stick with it. It was supposed to be done. It was supposed to be done and released on a Friday the 13th back in March.
Yeah, I believe it was March.
It was March. So.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Let's do a little small rewind. Yeah, that's right. Friday the 13th in March of 2020. March 6th and 7th, or 7th, one of the two, running around like idiots in the woods. Okay, now I'm up to speed. I remember where we're at now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Filming and all that stuff on that Saturday. That was still fun. I don't care.
Yeah. I want to get a lot more filming done, too.
Hopefully.
I would love to be able to do some more of that kind of shit. Especially with more props and masks and everything, to throw everything different out there. Yep. You know what I mean?
Hopefully my...
maybe get some Star Wars. Pew, pew.
Well, I mean, don't get me started there. I'll go over there and grab the lightsaber. No, not an actual one, but hopefully sometime shortly here we'll have a new addition. I'll have a new addition to my man cave, or as I like to call it, the Geek Den. Coming from I can't remember where the guy's from. I'll think of his name, but more on that later. Yeah. It's not pertinent to this franchise. It's from the franchise we talked about earlier.
Episodes 1 through 9. Or 8. 9.
Elm Street 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm Dead. A New Nightmare. There's 7 of them. We never got into Freddy vs. Jason.
I don't know what the hell we did between 8 and 13 then.
There was the Killer Clowns from Outer Space one. Yeah. There was the Open Discussion one. The Terrifier.
Shout out David Howard Thornton. Thank you again for that big intro.
Can't wait for the second one, man.
Can't wait. Terrifier 2. Go check it out. Terrifier 1 on Netflix.
Cannot wait. When's it coming out?
No release date, I believe. I thought they said somewhere October-ish this year. I believe.
Hurry up.
It looks great.
But don't make a crappy movie.
No, it looks great, though. Look at the stills on their Facebook page, Terrifier 2. Yeah, check it out. Yeah. And, See No Evil. We did See No Evil.
That's right, we did See No Evil 1 and 2. Anyway,
And that was it. Okay. Yeah, I think that was it. Now we're going to start the Friday the 13th franchise, doing 2 movies a show.
hopefully,
We'll stick with it. See what
hopefully,
happens.
because
Get it out of the way quicker so we don't have to take up too many episodes.
Yeah,
And I think we're going to throw in Freddy vs. Jason at the end of this one, maybe.
yeah. Why not? I mean, we ought to. I mean, we did the
Since
whole
we did Freddy,
we
then
did the
Jason,
whole
then
Elm
both
Street
together.
franchise. Let's do the whole Friday the 13th franchise. No reboots, and then since those two come together at a very nice Y intersection, like the Allegheny meeting the other river.
Monongahela.
That's it. Thank you. Couldn't remember that.
Shout out Pittsburgh.
Into the Ohio.
Okay, yeah. So we'll stop at, or we'll do Jason X, then Freddy vs. Jason.
Sounds like a plan to me.
That'll be good. And then we'll move on to another franchise.
The Jason X episode will be about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that will be pretty.
No offense, Kane.
Anyway, so yeah, happy 40-year anniversary
Yes.
to Friday the 13th and the birth of Jason Voorhees, Pamela Voorhees, and the whole franchise. So,
And since we're talking about 40th anniversaries, Empire Strikes Back. Sorry. I was a fan of them before I got into slashers, so as if you couldn't tell.
I just keep looking at the turtle stuff because that was my shit.
The Turtles. Well, we'll do a little pan and scan on that. There's a lot of stuff down in this
Yeah.
cave that you have no idea about.
We'll do
All you see-
one of our filler things will just be a tour of the set, and we'll do a tour of your set. It'll be a filler
set.
video.
This ain't a set.
It's our set, huh?
I guess you could call it a set.
Of course it's a
Whatever.
set.
There's a-
Oh, I can't. Oh, guys, I
Don't-
gotta stop looking that way.
Don't look over there.
You'll lose my attention.
Don't look.
You'll
Don't
lose my
it.
attention.
It's either one or two things you're looking at.
What
Maybe
do you
two
think?
things.
Which one do you think?
Yeah, I know which two.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Pervert.
Friday the 13th, Part 1.
Yes.
We'll delve in. We'll do a quick little synopsis, give thoughts, all that. I'm not gonna go kill by kill, all that kind of stuff with it.
Yeah, we gotta kind of ease back into this.
Yeah.
And I gotta kind of learn how to talk again too on camera.
I mean,
Quick synopsis.
yeah, basically, what Friday the 13th, Part 1. If you had to
Sound
tell
like Jimmy
somebody,
Stewart there. What?
if you had to tell somebody in a quick little spurt of words, what would you say? How would you get them to watch Friday the 13th, Part 1?
Somebody decided to reopen a summer camp that was supposedly the site of a child's accident, a child's death. It was closed down. They tried to reopen it, and mysterious killings start happening, and we get a pretty decent, final versus antagonist versus protagonist. Little bit of a shock for 1980. I mean, yeah, okay. We know what it is now, but it was kind of a shock.
Big reveal.
Big reveal.
Yeah, that was definitely a shock.
And I've said it before. I still love the way it was filmed. I'm once again, we're coming back in this. I'm trying not to jump around, but the kills were brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, they were brutal. They were filmed in a very good way where you really didn't see much, but still, nonetheless, the aftermath. Like I said, and I can't remember the character's name, but the girl in the bathroom. The axe goes up, it bumps the light bulb. You see down into her head.
Yeah, I love that.
It was the kills were just brutal. I mean, even what was his name? Harry Crosby. Guy on the back of the door. He's got an arrow through the eye. His throat's slashed. He's pinned on the back of a door.
Yeah, I mean the kills themselves. I mean they obviously we have the known effects and all that. I mean you can, but.
And I don't care what anybody says. For the first time I ever saw it, because you don't have 4K high definition, HDMI or whatever. The Kevin Bacon kill.
Look,
when I
awesome.
swear to God they killed that guy. But now if you look at it, you can see where technology is good, but it sucks. But just the brutalness of
where
it.
the neck doesn't really quite meet. And all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you weren't looking for that back.
No,
then.
you weren't.
No,
You weren't. And I mean,
you just enjoyed the movie.
and once again, because of that, that's where I started researching and getting into how did they do this, what special effects and this and that, and found out the guy who did it. Shout out to Mr. Tom Savini, kind of the Pittsburgh area native and everything, and he became the king of gore. I mean, he went on and did so many more, but Elm Street, Friday the 13th 1 and 4. I really, I think he more so or less started the whole trend of making it gory or making it more realistic, brutal.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of his kills, I think one of his most iconic would be from Maniac.
Oh, well,
with the shotgun through the head.
We're not doing Maniac, but absolutely.
No, but with the
Double barrel shotgun.
The way they shot
wind,
that and all the gore, I mean, that was an awesome effect. It was.
Fiberglass skull or a plaster
skull.
It was his head.
Yeah,
it was a cast of him. The plaster head with shrimp dip and chicken and everything put in there, and everything was kind of real. And it was him that jumped up on the hood of the car, boom, and I remember talking to him saying it was really creepy for me to be killing myself.
Yeah.
So, but that was Maniac. We need to do that one. That's another good one.
Yeah, I love that movie. Then
it's a decent movie.
They remade that one too.
But I just I really liked. Once again, Friday the 13th was probably right around the time when I started getting into, once again the whole shout out to what was it down here? Video Force. Looking and going, okay, what's it? Oh, Friday the 13th. I see a guy with the knife and everything. I'm like, okay, well, check this out or whatever, and that's where it all started.
And that's the thing. Knowing the movie, we're looking at a woman in the movie poster, but instinctively everybody looked at that like, who's that guy? Who's that? You know what I mean?
That could have been. Well, I mean, even 1 and 2 here. I mean, it's kind of it's a generic. It's an awesome cover,
but they're the same picture though.
Yeah, it's kind of a no. It's not. One has an axe.
No, though they added the axe and they added the knife, but the actual frame of the body is exactly the same.
Nerd alert. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it, and that was one of the big things about it. I mean, you see all these killings and everything, and I mean, we've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you saw the family and everything. They're going after. You knew who the killer was. You had no idea who it was. How they filmed everything. It was almost like a personal perspective, or however you want to call it. The guy who was in charge of the camp and everything, of getting everything open, the guy in the yellow slicker, hey,
Steve Christy.
Yeah, Steve Christy.
Creep. He was a creep.
Yeah, he was a creep. He was a creep, and he deserved it. But you got the camera shot of him walking up. Oh, hey, what are you doing here? Horror, and
POV stuff.
Yes, point of view. But yeah, and the whole big turning point. You see, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, and
that's the reveal.
Well, it wasn't so much of a reveal. You were like, okay, this can't be her. It's a woman, and then she starts. And it was fantastic. It was a complete and utter shocker to me, because I'm like, oh, she looks nothing like Leatherface.
No.
Or it wasn't a big guy running around, or anything like that.
And that's why I think a female killer makes so much more sense sometimes, because everybody lets their guard down, not thinking they're going to be the killer. So in the script, you can use that.
Billy Loomis's mom.
Like, how did she kill him so easy? Well, they probably didn't assume she was the killer. It was a woman,
Yep.
But and she was Betsy Palmer. Amazing.
Yeah, rest in peace, Betsy.
Amazing in this movie, man.
And she didn't want to do it.
No.
She was really adamant about not doing the film, because she was like,
I'm only in it for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Exactly. And it was her defining moment.
And the funny thing is she probably is best known as Mrs. Voorhees. Not saying that anything else she was ever in was, worse or whatever. But
yeah. Same thing with Freddy.
Absolutely.
Robert Englund. He's always going to be Freddy, but he's been in hundreds of things.
Willie the Lizard. Still love Willie the Lizard. But yeah, it's just, even how, even the cinematography in it, how, some of the shots were done, and, getting somewhat, I don't want to say creative, but, there had to be some, decent thinking about how to plan stuff out or how to keep it, you know, instead of it just being a boring point of view kill all the time.
Yeah.
You know, something like that to make it more interesting. The axe scene, once again, I said it earlier, but that's one of my favorite ones. I mean, just the way it was, you know, somebody comes in, she looks out, it's a shot on her face, the axe goes up out of frame, whap, you know.
She waits for it.
Yeah, exactly. She kind of goes, ah!
I give up. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know.
I mean, but watching it, knowing like that it was a mystery the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I wish I was, like I said, I wish I was alive when it was out and how I would have reacted. Kind of like Scream. That was probably like my Scream, not knowing who done it type thing, like who's the killer, because you don't know until the very end.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's kind of like this with this one, but this one was way out of left field, especially for the time.
And then they throw that extra screwball in at the end with Jason coming out of the lake and everything. So did Alice dream it? Did it really happen? You know, I mean,
no, it was 100% a dream sequence.
It was, yeah.
But
Well, you find out later.
Yeah.
It wasn't you kind of figure it out afterwards, but you know, where did Jason go?
At that point, yeah, because that's where it was supposed to be done. There was never supposed to be sequels or nothing.
Right.
It was supposed to be done rippling. Oh, so he's down there, and they were supposed to be like, oh, well, the audience is he or isn't he, and that was it.
Yeah.
Until there was money to
Which
be
was
made.
one of the big questions when we get into part 2. After, you know, oh, wait a minute, there's a Friday the 13th part 2. Wait a minute, if he came out of the lake, he was supposed to drown, whatever, and you trying to do the math, like, okay, so he had scuba gear on. Maybe trying to live down there, or did he really drown? What's going on? Was you know, Mrs. Voorhees a little crazy or whatever, and you know,
the fact that I don't know. There's so many they call them plot holes now, but back then they were just writing them like they didn't think ahead. You can't think ahead 8 movies.
Yeah, well, yeah,
you know,
you can only do so much. But yeah, the Mrs. Voorhees being the killer was kind of like the no, I'm your father. For, you know, the sci-fi geeks. Oh, no, oh my God, wow. It was just like a punch in the gut.
Because I watched this, I watched the ending of one last night and part 2 last night. When she says it, you're watching it, and even when she's in the house, and she's in the cabin, she's like, oh, you know, I told him not to reopen, but I'm watching it, I'm like, if I didn't know that she was a killer, I still wouldn't know. Until that one moment.
Yeah.
And you see that it just snaps.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, we can go now, dear. And then you know it's her.
Yeah.
But all the way up until that point, I still wouldn't have known that it was her as the killer. I would have thought she was coming to help.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, and you know, and even what even helped it out even more was like the wardrobe and even the makeup choice. She wasn't dirty. She wasn't filthy. I mean, she had a sweater on. She kind of looked like your average, ordinary, you know, possibly helper for, you know, counselor or whatever for the camp.
Well, she was a cook.
Exactly. That's right, she was a cook. And then all of a sudden she reaches down and
you see the knife,
pulls out that knife and we're like, oh, shit, gonna get real.
And now a very long chase / fight ensues.
Yep.
And, you get the climax, which, I mean, iconic, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, another Savini effect with the head chop off. I mean, sorry, but Alice would never be that strong to people with one swipe.
I mean, she had to
cut
line that up
head off perfectly.
Into, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's one hell of a sharp machete.
Yeah, well. But you get the thwap with the machete, the hand coming up, and she's gone.
Yep.
Mrs. Voorhees is dead.
Back into the lake with the boat. Once again, the dream sequence, wanting to know what happens to him. And I really like the fade out to the lake. It's all
the music
calm and serene, and then boom, credits. And yeah, it was, you know, if it was supposed to be just that movie, that would have been perfect. That would have been
which it was, yeah.
Gee, what happened to the boy? Is he alive? Is he dead? I mean, most people would think, okay, yes, he did drown or whatever, but
I mean, if you have a brain, you know that obviously if you drown in 1958, he can't still look like a boy in 1980. So clearly that was a dream of her image of him. You find that out in the second one, which we will get to soon. It only makes sense that it was a dream sequence. You know, they pulled her out of the lake. and there was no boy because it was only in her head.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's how part 1 ends.
Yep. Still probably one of my favorites from, the 80s. We're kind of all stuck I'm kind of stuck in the 80s with the movies.
Oh, any default. Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference.
I'll go back. I'll go back there.
Hey, what do you want to watch? Let's see. What do you want to watch tonight? Oh, let's see. This is on. Oh, look, Jaws. Click. Oh, look, Empire Strikes Back. Click. Oh, look, Star Wars. I mean, anything from back then. I mean, it was just, I don't know if it was just a sign of the times that the movies were written and filmed better. Damn the plot holes, or it's just because it's from our generation.
Last week I'm scanning through all these movies and I'm like, scan. I click Breakfast Club. Just put it on and put it. I watch
Eat my shorts.
all these new movies, all these other things everybody's probably talking about, discussing. I'm like, oh, Breakfast Club. I put it on.
I know we've had the discussion before about, way back when you'd see on TV the, a trailer for a new movie or something. And it didn't make a difference what it was. For me, either Indiana Jones or you name it from back in the 80s, even like you said, Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller. Something grabbed you and said, hey, I want to go see that movie. I just don't have that anymore with trailers. Or it's just like, I don't know.
Like I said, as of right now, personally, we're waiting nothing right now but for the Halloween trailer.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's to me, that is my equivalent of back then. We're still waiting. We're waiting.
But the funny thing is, today I saw the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music. And
yeah,
I know the original two gentlemen who wrote the first two are doing the third ones. I'm kind of optimistic. What the hell happened to Keanu Reeves? Anyway.
Yeah, well, 20 years happened to him.
I'm not even talking. I mean, he still looks good, but his voice is completely. I don't know what happened. It just doesn't sound like. Kind of sounds like somebody impersonating or doing a bad,
how he used
imitation of, Keanu Reeves doing Ted Theodore Logan. Alex Winter, not Bill Winter. Yeah,
Bill Winters.
Bill. Yeah, Bill. Alex Winters, I think this is the first major movie he's had since Freaked, 1993. I mean, other than doing little TV spots here or voiceover work or something, I don't think he's had. And I love that movie Freaked. It was it's a train wreck, but it's a good one.
And he was in Lost Boys too.
Well, that was before that. So you had Lost Boys, you had Bill and Ted 1 and 2, you had Freaked, and.
So, you want to do Bill and Ted 3? Yep, I was waiting for you.
My God, it's been since 1991. That's 29 years ago.
Waiting for that call.
Excellent. But you know what?
No offense, dude. That's
seriously. I mean, we all make fun and everything, but you know what? I definitely am going to see it. I have to.
Of course.
The only thing that's going to suck, no Rufus. I mean... God bless you, George Carlin.
They're going to reference, I would imagine.
I don't know if they will or not, but, I mean, it's just... I couldn't help it. I was a George Carlin fan.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
that's just a perfect...
Sorry about that. So anyway, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
We are?
Do you want to take one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're going to take
I got to answer this anyhow.
Okay. And we will be right back.
Stay tuned.
This is Deborah Voorhees. Some of you may know me as Tina from Friday the 13th, The New Beginning. I'm also the director of 13 Fanboy, which is coming out soon. You are listening to Slash Cast, a horror fans podcast.
Doing anything. We were just messing around. Where is she?
Crack.
Oh, gee, hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your... No, we can't.
All right.
Welcome back, Carter.
Hope you enjoyed Trip Down Memory Lane with that little
Yeah.
commercial break there.
Yeah. Still fun.
Still sore?
Fuck you.
All right.
Look at me, I'm the young guy. I get to walk around with a mask on. Ha 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 ha. The old fort to go. Holy shit!
Before we get into Friday 13th Part 2, courtesy,
like it.
Courtesy of Trick or Treat Studios, any Sinister fans out there.
Trick or Treat Studios does great work. It's amazing.
Bagul, I believe, is how you
Fungul.
say it. Fungul. And his hair is amazing, by the way. So
Yeah, the hair.
realistic. Look at
The
that.
hair's actually like punched in. It's just not glued on or whatever. But it feels so realistic. I don't know if they scalped somebody.
Could have.
But yeah, you could see all like the. Yeah, they can't see.
They
it.
can't see that. Okay.
Give me that damn thing.
Good show. But yeah, that's the newest
This ought to
addition.
be good for the focus.
That's my newest addition to my mask collection.
Can you see it now?
I just got to get a suit to go with it, and that'll be a costume.
I don't know if you can see that old how it's rooted in there.
Yep, you see it. See those rows and stuff?
The
Yeah,
rows and everything. Yeah, it's just not like
punched.
Ruby's costumes or Ruby's. Not saying anything bad about Ruby's, but they just
This is definitely
like glue it on.
intricate.
Yeah,
They
it's awesome.
yeah. So
It's amazing.
Trick or Treat Studios, go check them out. Sinister, check it out. So yeah,
Trick or Treat does
definitely a creepy mask, man. I can't
check,
wait to
and I
wear
mean, not just masks. They do
everything.
all kinds of stuff. I've got the Halloween 3 season of which they did like the old pins, not like the button ones you used to get like at Spencer's, but the ones that looked like brass.
Yeah,
And give me that.
you also get those
But
in the
it's
box.
it's like the old pin bags, but I've got the skeleton and the we in?
You're in. That is an air freshener for your car.
Smell like death. I mean,
Should I give everybody this 10% coupon?
no, don't.
Okay.
Because I'm taking that. Kick you right in the head for it. But yeah, they do some. I've got like.
Oh, yeah.
They've got all kinds of stuff. My favorite thing. I hope they still have them on there. I mean, you've seen the ink and everything from like the old 1970s Beasel Halloween, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you had a 5 and dime or a Hills, depending on your region or whatever, Woolworths, the Beasel paper products. They had the skeletons, the jointed stuff. There's one up above Jim's head. I was hoping it would fall on him, but they did like those kind of era, like the 70s, with I think Chucky and Freddy, and I want to get those for Halloween because it's kind of it makes me remember why I got into Halloween.
So if you can give us a little info how to get him what he wants, please let us know.
And we'll keep, we'll pimp your stuff out. Send us stuff. Hey, look at this.
Yep.
Look at this. Look at this.
All 10 people will see it and they'll like it probably.
Who cares?
But
You tell 2 friends and
they'll talk to friends.
and
Hey,
so on
it's that
and-
kind of mentality that got us in quarantine. Thank you.
Shut up. Dun, 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 you dick.
Hey, everybody needed a 3-month vacation, I guess.
Well, that's true.
Okay, so 1981, after
Yeah.
the success of 1980s Friday the 13th, we get part 2.
Yeah. And
How would you get somebody into the theater to see part 2, Sean?
did you like part 1? Check out part 2.
And that's what they did. Because all it says is the body count continues.
That's about it.
That's it.
I think this came about because I don't know the actual numbers or anything, but if the Friday the 13th, the first one was a sleeper hit or whatever you want to call it, but we had to do a second one, and
Yeah.
I could see the Raiders going, "How are we gonna do this?" I got an idea. The kid was part frog, and he lived in the lake. I don't know. I'm just. But they had, I mean, this is where Jason actually, the iconic killer from Friday the 13th, who we all know and love, hockey mask, baghead, whatever you want to call him.
The main reason why Casey Becker got killed in Scream was because of Jason's popularity.
That is a true statement.
So, that should say something.
That was that was kind of a little scam as far as I'm concerned.
Hey,
Who's
I
the
got
killer in Friday the 13th? Well,
We just talked about it.
Let me explain something to you. I know my horror movies. How do you want to call this? Are we talking about the first movie or from 2 all the way on? Because there's actually 3. Never mind.
Well,
You
counted.
think about it, there was. Yeah.
Friday the 13th is
But
Her.
we get Jason. He's older. He is a redhead. He looks like a backwoods redneck and kind of resembles Sloth from the Goonies, but I guess Sloth would resemble him.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the Mongoloid thing.
And he likes plaid.
He was supposed to be Mongoloid-ish, whatever.
And he likes plaid.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Because you can't. If you like the woods, you have to like plaid and camo.
Or
You just
camo,
have to.
yeah.
You have to. You can't
But-
show other people you like the woods unless you're wearing plaid and camo.
You actually brought up a good point while we were at commercial, and I hadn't thought about this until you just brought this up, the timeline. I mean, Friday the 13th, 1980, and I know it's the movies, but hey, Friday the 13th, Part 2, 81.
The first 5 minutes of Part 2 actually changed the entire franchise from what it should have been
Right.
to what it became.
The first one took place supposedly in 1980. That's when it was released, whatever. But
This one was released in 1981, but throughout the film we find out that it actually takes place 5 years later. So, in actuality, we're watching a film taking place in 1985.
1.21 gigawatts! Never mind.
So,
There was no DeLorean.
not only is Jason 5 years older than he would have been in Part 1,
Right.
but it also proves that Part 2, or the ending of Part 1, was a dream sequence because he was no way still a babe or a boy in the lake pulling her under because he was a grown man in Part 2.
And supposedly he's been living...
And he killed Alice months after she killed his mom, meaning he had seen it happen, which was he was already living in the woods at that point. But the biggest plot hole is that he calls her on the telephone, finds out where she lives. What else can we do? But either way, there's no way in 1980 that he was going to be able to find out where she lives.
Learned how to use a telephone.
Learn how to use a telephone.
And safety conscience took that kettle off the stove.
Yes, but he didn't kill the cat.
Well,
But so yeah, right there we find out, and then we jump ahead.
so is the beginning of it really, moments after?
No, it's months after.
I was going to say months because,
In Part 2, we find out she was killed months after.
and then we
killed her.
jump.
5 years later.
5 years
then
later,
reopening
okay.
the camp again.
Yep.
And
Reopening the camp.
reopening it. But it's also off limits. It's not actually on the camp where the killings happened. It's
Right.
beside the camp, and they're not allowed to go over there. But Jason is still living in the woods, and we first see Baghead Jason run across the road in front of a cop,
Yep.
and then we see where he was living, which shows us everything. He's been living there for basically, to bring up the remake. He was the remake Jason,
Yeah.
basically, and.
Carried his mom's head like a bowling ball underneath his arm. Made a nice little shrine.
And not only, but that's another big plot hole, is the head that we see in Part 2 when Alice gets killed at the beginning of Part 2 is definitely not the same head we see at the end of Part 2.
Well, I would hope not. They would have had to have killed Betsy Palmer. I mean,
I'm just saying, like the one in the fridge it does look like Betsy Palmer, but the one at the end, but now that you're thinking about it, would the decay after 5 years make it look like that? Because it has been 5 years.
well, that's true, but
So
the hair was kind of...
it was weird. Yeah. Either way, it's two completely different.
It wasn't Tom
different heads.
Savini. He wouldn't have... Whoever did it didn't think about the stuff.
two
Love you,
completely-
Tom.
Yeah, way, yeah, whatever. But yeah, now we have full-grown Jason, all that kind of stuff, and they're reopening the camp now.
Yeah. And we got a bunch of new batch of horny teenagers. One in a wheelchair.
We actually
My
have one thing happens in this movie. It doesn't happen in many movies. Is we have a lot of survivors,
Yeah.
Because they
That
all
is a
leave the
true
camp.
statement. Yeah.
and we never know what happens to all of them when they come back from the bar. One of the characters that you know for a fact should have been killed never gets killed on screen. The jokester redhead dude.
Yeah.
He stayed at the bar. So he's a character that they always talked about possibly bringing back because he was on camera so much.
Yeah.
And then he didn't die. Like he was a main character, but
Yep.
it turned out to nothing happened to him. But yeah, we have a lot of characters that stayed alive after this movie. But the core characters, you like the wheelchair
Oh, the wheelchair cracked me up.
wheelchair guy. He was actually a character that they had written, like years. I can't remember what it was. Look up him if you like him, the wheelchair character. His story. He was supposed to be at all times in this movie. Like it was something weird. Like
I got you.
That was a character they always wanted in the movie.
The
throughout
guy.
other scripts that were thrown out, they always kept that character.
I got you. Still like the other guy that was like walking on his hands and shunk.
Yeah,
That was probably number 2 in my book.
yeah. Paul's kind of a dick.
Well, yeah, he was.
Jenny's kind of a bitch,
Yeah.
but she was on her period.
Oh well.
And if you watch
To all
part
our
2,
female viewers out there, this has no, reference to my point of views of ladies and that kind of thing, but it can be true.
but you do find that out in the movie if you look close enough. The night before, he's giving all the rules, and he tells the women to make sure they stay clean during their menstrual cycles.
Bears.
Jenny shows up.
Bears
yeah,
can
because
smell
of
their
bears. Bears can
menstruation.
smell the menstruation. And then the next day, she wakes up. He wrote on the mirror, "Beware of bears." So that means they didn't have sex. That means that that's why. And that's why she survived, because she didn't break the rule of having sex during a horror movie. And we'll get to the end with Paul, but that's a whole big mystery, by the way. I'll delve into what happened to Paul.
Yeah.
We'll delve into that. But yeah, your favorite kill was the wheelchair, right?
That was. Yeah, it was.
I'm trying to think.
It was. I mean, just. It would have been great if he just rolled back. I mean,
He
number
went
one,
down.
a guy,
He
a
went
guy's
down.
in a,
He went down the
guy's in a
Exorcist
wheelchair.
stairs, man.
Yeah, the guy is in a wheelchair. Whap right across the face. Shabow. Roll him back a little bit would have been great. Even if the wheelchair would have like tipped him over and his body would have slid down the steps, it would have been great. No, full on, and Bunny's falling down the goddamn steps again, and just
Eddie Murphy.
sit there and just on the DVD, bang, rewind that, watch it, and the dummy's head was going. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
After you said him, Bunny fell
See what
I'm thinking. Because I'm
Going to Google.
because I know what it is, and nobody's watching probably knows anything.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
okay. Listen, if you
know
know,
what that
who
reference
Aunt
is
Bunny,
from.
yeah, exactly. If you know who Aunt Bunny was, or Goonie Google,
Type it in the comments.
Type in the comments. Yes, we know what it is. You know, and even if I don't care
Don't
what
look
the
it up.
comment is.
Don't
Don't
look it
look it up either. Don't cheat.
That's not fair,
Don't
because I
cheat.
don't have to look up what comes out of this thing. I say it right in front of
See,
you.
you missed it. You missed this 3 months goofy bullshit that just pops out of my head.
That's great.
No,
It's great.
I love it. I love every bit of it. But yeah, I mean, the
We
second one was the second one, though. I mean, it wasn't worse. It wasn't better. It was
But like I said, without this happening, we never would have Jason Voorhees.
absolutely.
So was it good? I would have to say definitely.
I would say it was it was probably a little bit par. You get a little bit, or above par, I should say, from the first one, maybe a step or two. I mean, you're kind of rehashing somewhat the same story over again, but now you have the revengeful son.
To me, it was a part 2, but it's really a part 1/1. I think.
1.1.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
it was its own. It started its own thing.
Yeah.
Like without part 1, this could easily been like a simple backstory and its own movie without part 1 ever happening.
Absolutely. But that's the kind of thing that I liked. Not that I'm big on reboots or remakes or whatever, but when they redid Friday the 13th with Derek Mears,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of took 1 and 2 and went,
Oh, that's all they did.
and
Yeah.
it to me it actually made more sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, people, fans thinking, what can we do different? How do we want to do this? Hey, I got an idea, blah blah. And I'm not saying that the reboot was a terrible movie, but
No.
it's probably up there with the Friday the 13th franchise, somewhere like maybe 3 or 4, somewhere.
I mean,
in
it's
there.
definitely. I could rewatch that all
Yeah,
the time, and it's a good. It's definitely a good version.
Yeah.
What they did with it, which we're not going to we're not going to cover it, so we might as well just touch on it when we can.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I love that movie. I think it had the Michael Bay shot movie type feel with the all the remakes did back then, the Texas Chainsaw and all them, and the Nightmare.
The big
that
maze
dark grainy look.
the big maze of buses underground, so Jason could go.
Oh, he was digging, man.
Yeah, man, he was.
digging.
And Derek Mears, I really liked him. I mean, as Jay. I mean, not taking anything away from anybody who's played Jason, but it's that mentality here. we're putting a mask over your face, go and kill people. I mean, you're going to try to. Kane brought Jason to life. I mean, just more so or less, just brought Jason, gave him more personality and what he would do, what he wouldn't do, and Derek did a good job on that.
Yeah.
I think.
And I think that's one thing he said he didn't want to do is try to copy Kane. He said, I got to make it me.
Yeah.
And he did, because he was a fast-moving Jason, which Kane was never been a fast-moving Jason because he was the part
Decaying.
7. You know, he was already dead. So this was a live Jason, so he would be still able to run and move fast, and we got that in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is...
At least he didn't do that running like they did in part 3 whenever he comes out of the house or the boathouse or whatever.
Oh, when he busts the door down?
Yeah.
Yeah. His mask off?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's sitting at the window, trying to crawl through the window upstairs. Yeah, it's funny. But, yeah, no.
And we sit here and we kind of knock these movies somewhat because, I mean...
We're allowed.
Well, we're fans of them. I mean, you know, we could sit there and just, you know... You got people that are fans of Back to the Future. You watch that, and 30 years later, you learn, hey, if you watch at the beginning of this, and then this happens, and whenever he comes back to try to save Doc, there's all kinds of changes, and even through that trilogy, you know, hey, Biff's family, the Tannen family, have something about getting manure dumped on them constantly.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, even like the people who were like for the mayor, Goldie Wilson, and this guy. I mean, you really have to dive into it and check it out, and that's what we're doing. I mean, we can make fun of this all we want to, or you know, whatever. Can't wait till we do 3D. That's gonna be some funny shit.
Yeah.
That was some of the shittiest.
I'm just going to start pointing sticks at the camera like this, but looking at the camera while I'm doing it, just like you were going to see.
I'm gonna get a string and a fake eye and tie it to the camera and go poof and fwee.
The harpoon.
The harpoon was done somewhat well.
We'll get into part 3.
Yeah, we'll do part 3 later. We're still on part 2.
Yes, but I mean, I do want to say we do lose Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
With the very unrealistic. I don't know how the hell you. Okay, there's a tree.
Yeah.
And he's standing behind a tree. How was Jason able to put a rope over the tree and around his neck like that?
The tree was cut off.
Oh, okay.
It was in the script.
It was in the script. That the tree was only this high.
Jason's magic. I don't know.
Just saying. One thing that sucked.
Okay, now they took and they redid that, and they what am I looking for? They made it look better in, I think it was it 5 or 6, with the strap and the it was.
Oh yeah, part 5.
Yeah, part 5. Because
shout out Deborah Voorhees, her boyfriend getting killed is what he's referring to.
Oh yeah,
and you did
and
hear her in a commercial.
And the funny thing is, like, you know, all the kills after seeing them so many years and watching them so many times, everything kind of just goes into one big thing, and I can't. There's certain ones that you know. Wheelchair, part 2. I've said it 5 times already. I don't care. The head getting blasted off of the dude on the rooftop. That's Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
But yeah, that strap, whenever you actually see it come around the tree, and they put the, you know.
But then when he's turning it, he turns it the opposite way when it breaks.
Yeah, well, hey, you know.
I nitpick.
Yeah, well, but we can, because we're fans. Like I said, that's that whole, you know, Back to the Future thing. People, hey, did you check this out? That's us. Instead of us nitpicking and picking out things that they did, we're like, hey, wait a minute, that's wrong.
Yeah, we dig into the continuity. We want to make sure where things don't make sense, where it does make sense. All this adds up to this, and where's that mistake there?
And once again, Friday the 13th isn't a Shakespearean production, so I mean,
no. And
we still love them. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, as simple as the premise of that they are, you can still talk about them for hours, and that says something about what they are.
Sure,
and
I mean,
horror
you know,
in general.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. But yeah, they redeemed themselves with, like you said, in part 5, with the strap coming around instead of the rope coming around.
Yeah.
Jason was up the tree, and he saw Ralph, and he jumped down, and he went, I don't know. I mean, you know, that's just one of those.
He might have had those boots with the spikes where you have to climb up the tree with.
Lineman boots, absolutely, or, you know, logger boots, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. But the climax of this movie is Ginny.
Yep. Ginny goes into Jason's little mud hut, or whatever you want to call it.
Shack, whatever you want. Yeah.
Puts the sweater on.
Yeah. She sees Mrs. Voorhees' head, sweater, puts a sweater on somehow, thinking it's going to make...
Picks up Mrs. Voorhees' head, picks up the 710 split out the side the door, or whatever she did with it, and buries a machete.
We still see Paul here. Now I want to bring up Paul for a second. Paul is a character, a very, very mysterious character. But
Yeah.
Paul does show up in this scene with her in the shack to help her fight off Jason.
Yep.
We see Jason on top of Paul, and then Ginny comes up behind Jason with his machete and
I mean, buries it deep.
right into the... I mean, that's collarbone, shoulder blade. It went down.
Yeah, it did.
It went in there.
And once again, I mean, like I said, we're fans of the movies. You're going, okay, there ain't no way in hell a human is going to survive that.
No.
So that's what
And still have
started-
full use of his arm.
Well, like the T-1000.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But
And that's where, like, you know, the joke started coming from. Okay, what the hell's going on? How is it?
Yeah.
Is it this one? Is it that? You know.
is he dead? Yeah. What is this? Supernatural, not supernatural, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, one question that came from the ending of this movie was, like the ending of part one, what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
one was part one was answered, I think. Part two was never answered, so you can really just guess whatever the hell you want to guess with it.
More so or less.
Yeah, but we do see Jason without his mask on come through the window,
Yep.
grab Ginny and pull her back through the window. But during that sequence, we also see the dog, which we saw in the movie. It looked like the dog was dead.
Well, yeah.
When the two kids find it when walking through the woods, it's the dog.
Yeah.
So the fact that the dog's there at the end tells me that she's in the dream sequence already, with the dog and Paul. When she wakes
Yeah.
up, she's on the stretcher, yelling, "Where's Paul?" And nobody answers her. So that's telling me that both Paul and the dog were in her dream because they were both dead.
Yep.
And I think when she did the machete into Jason, and Jason fell, is when she looked down and saw that Paul was dead, and she passed out.
You deep thinker.
Yeah. But that's what I think. Because
So-
at the end of or at the beginning of part 3, Jason's still on the floor of the shack with a machete,
Uh-huh.
and he crawls away. So he never got up. He never jumped through the window to get her.
You put a little Neosporin on it, Bactine.
Just saying. So at the end, just like part 2, what was a dream and what wasn't.
Yep.
At the beginning of part 3, we realized that was what happened.
Yep.
But
Gee, it was probably Paul in the Jason costume, and that no, never mind. Nope, never mind.
was Paul ever really there? Did he run away? Did Paul become Jason in part 3? And whatever.
Did he have duct tape over his mouth and everything, and then had you get what I'm getting at, right?
Which one? What are you talking
Was it really? Did Jason put the bag over?
about? Oh, Michael. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But
It's been too long. He's not getting my humor anymore,
We'll
or
get
my
there.
references.
Takes me a second.
You're fine.
Takes me a second.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
So other than that, part 1, part 2, it's history. It's horror history.
I was just gonna say, in more ways than one, it's history.
Yeah. So like it or not, we're gonna rate. You want to rate these separately or together? Or what do you want to do?
You know what? I mean, go ahead. What do you think? Let's go separately, and then just
Because I
leave
do
it at
consider
that.
we can put them together. Yeah, okay. Part 1, I'm going to say strictly for historical value, as well as the movie itself. I mean, it's just entertaining, campy, fun
Yeah.
slasher movie.
But it was done well, though. I mean,
It
it
was.
wasn't so stupid.
No,
It was filmed well. It was a decent script, a little bit of humor, a little bit of a lot of terror, I guess, or whatever, a little mystery, blah blah blah. It was done well for the time.
yeah. I mean, and at that point, I think it was an original idea too. I mean, I don't think camp movies were a thing. That they started that whole genre. I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say for Friday the 13th Part 1, I'm going to give 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10.
And Part 2, because it did wrap up question from part one. Mm-hmm. I give that credit for script writing. Movie itself was just as good as part one as far as like going through the motion of a movie. I mean, it flowed good. It didn't have too many mistakes that stood out to me.
Backwards machete. But
backwards machete.
We're still going to figure that out.
I believe it's a backwards machete. I think it's a mistake.
I think it is too.
If you're watching, backwards machete. Wheelchair guy. Other than that, I'm just going to give part 2 to 7. So altogether, the 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Part 1 and 2 together, I'd say out of 10 as a to watch
Out of 10, I'd say I'm almost there with you. I'm going to take half a point off for number 1. I'm going to give it an 8. Mm-hmm. And just like I said, it was. Let's face it. This is the one that kind of kick-started everything in the 80s with slashers. That's my opinion. Number 2, I'm going to give it. I'd say a 7. So maybe a 7.5 or 7 for both of them put together, but just everything. Just to reiterate what he said, I mean, it wrapped up a bunch of stuff from number 1, gave us something else for number, the next thing going on if they decided to do it. If they weren't, well, we know what the answer was for that. But yeah, I mean, we've said it before. We can sit here and make fun of this plot hole, that, and that. It's difficult to write movies that are good, have a good continuity and everything. It's a tough job. It really is. And to make a interesting, good movie about just teenagers getting slaughtered, it took some doing. And I think they did a phenomenal job in these.
Yeah. And
later on down the line,
this is where we get the separation between the Steve Miner and the Cunningham argument. Right. Is who's who, like who created what. And really, I think part 1 is its own movie, and Jason didn't get created until part 2, and that's who created Jason to me.
Yeah, but you always have Cunningham attached to it.
Yeah, so you have to, because even though you created Jason as this person, you wouldn't have thought Jason Voorhees was anybody without the original thought of Jason being made.
Hey, let's face it. That 5 seconds. 8-second shot of him, Ari Lehman coming up, grabbing her and pulling her down. To me, that was Jason. And all this number 2 did was expand on what was going on. So, in my argument, against what you're saying, I still think Sean Cunningham created Jason. We just didn't use him until...
He created a version of him.
He created a version of him, but it was still there. So the birth of it was there, but... he wasn't going to do anything with it. One-shot deal, that's it.
That's what I mean.
So somebody else kind of went, okay, let's run with the ball. What's he going to do? We've seen the mongoloid waterhead kind of sort of thing. Let's do that. The eye was kind of sloped down. So creating him older, we'll give it to the Miner guy, Steve Miner. But I still think the birth was Sean, just because of that whole Jason existed. Because of that. Yeah. Then again, it was a dream sequence, but still the audience saw it.
Like to Sean Cunningham, Jason never existed, so if there was no idea of making another Jason, we never would see Jason if it was up to Sean. It had to take somebody else to make this what it was. So that's...
Stop arguing.
It's just what it is. But either way, we're here. We're here 40 years later.
Yep.
Happy anniversary, and we're here still talking about it.
Absolutely. That's
something. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to get into part 3, at least. Hopefully next.
Yeah, we could probably do 3 and 4. I don't see why not. 4 is kind of the bigger ones of the first 4 movies. 3... Yeah, why don't we try 3 and 4?
I mean, 3 is big majority of the fact of this mask.
Don't give it away.
This is a spoiler show. I don't care.
Yeah,
but,
really.
Yeah. 3 and 4 next, probably. For episode 14. We'll get through this series, and then, like I said, we haven't decided yet on the next series. So if you have any ideas, please let us know.
I mean, now that we're back, give us some feedback. Tell us, hey, nice to see you ugly bastards again.
Yeah.
You know.
If you don't want us to come back,
let us know.
We're still going to.
Well, yeah, well, that's without a doubt. We have fun doing this.
Yeah. Nah.
And it's nice to meet people that kind of message back and forth, say, hey, you guys this, how about this? It's nice to hear from you, you know. Not
Yeah.
that it's not nice to be heard from at all. That kind of sucks with a webcast or a podcast or whatever this kind of cast is.
Just a thing.
It's just a thing.
Just a thing.
Just a thing we do because we're
So,
bored.
yeah. Other than that, yeah. We're going to get through this franchise. If you have any other ideas, let us know. Summer is coming up, so you guys are going to have a lot of free time probably.
Summer sleepaway camp.
Yeah. Now that
Tie-in sleepaway camp, Friday the Sea, Camp Crystal Lake, blah. No.
yeah, anyway. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll get through this series, and we don't have a shortage of, of movies to go on to. So, otherwise, man, really appreciate it.
Glad to be back.
Definitely.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let us know.
Don't forget, like, share, comment, do all that fun stuff. Slashcast on Facebook.
These
Original OG shirts right here.
are still available.
Also, any other ones you want, let me know. Or message the page, let us know. And
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
Absolutely.
Stay safe.
I have no idea what the hell that all was, but stay safe out there.
As always, I'm Jim.
I'm still Chevy.
Until next time.
Later on.